don't see his impact. All right, I know we've talked about
Mm,
Sesko, Benjamin Sesko, the new kid that is now on injured. Um, but I see more of Sesko, even though I don't think he's impactful. But I see more of Sesko than Cunha. Now
mm,
maybe if Mbeumo is gone to Mbeumo and Ahmad goes away on AFCON duty, the African Cup of Nations duty,
mm.
maybe we might start to see Cunha. But I don't see Cunha. I think he's a fraud.
Of course, there was. You talk about that word fraud. I mean, I don't remember the name, but you remember a few years ago, not that
Right,
many years ago, somebody purported to be a professional footballer and was
right,
and I don't think it was Manchester United, but one of our leading clubs either bought him or accepted him. And it turned out he was a fraud. He wasn't a footballer at all. And he went on
right,
when he was first on the pitch. He
right.
was so hopeless. It was obvious that there was a problem. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
It's not my.
I,
It was a few years ago, but quite
right.
how he got away with that, I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah, but no, I mean it's a strong word to use. I mean I can't say I've studied this Brazilian guy that much. I've seen him
yeah,
there. I mean sometimes we have to say that in any team you do get players who are under the radar, and in a way
right.
they're kind of they don't get the praise they might deserve because what they do is often, as they might say, the hard yards. They're there, they're getting their head down and just being in the engine room, and therefore they don't get the plaudits. They don't get the praise that they should, perhaps. Now I don't know whether you would think this guy might fall into that category, or you just think what you do see doesn't really match up, which is perhaps what we felt to some degree about Jadon Sancho. He
Yeah,
he didn't seem to justify the fee. I don't. It was about 80 million or something that
yeah,
Manchester United paid for him. It was a huge amount of money. And whereas with most players at that level, you will see an inkling sometimes of why they paid that money.
yeah.
I don't like to be critical of a player because he's obviously got something and has exhibited something in his career to have been bought for that money. But
Yeah.
certainly, I think he's had enough time to prove what he can do. So I agree. We're not overly impressed with him. Is he still at Manchester United, Sancho?
Cunha.
Or has he gone?
No, no, no. Sancho's at Aston Villa, remember?
Oh, right.
Um,
He went there then. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I
he's
wondered if
I
that
think
was a loan.
yeah, it was on a loan. Yeah, so
It was a
he's on
loan.
loan
Yeah.
to he still belongs to Manchester United. He's on loan at Aston
Yeah.
Villa. And in one of the matches, it was put on as a substitute
And
and then
then
subbed
taken
off
off.
again and then it's taken
Yeah.
off again. But anyway, I don't mean Cunha in a strong fraud is a strong word, but I don't mean him in that light. I just mean that
Mm.
there's something about him that isn't really living up to the
The
expectation of
expectation.
being a Brazilian and two um, worthy of the transfer to Manchester United
Yeah, I
in
mean,
that
one of the
department.
points you made there, I was going to bring up. You said being a Brazilian. Now, I suppose for Brazilian players, and there's quite a few of them in our league, which they never used to be when Brazil had these great teams in the 80s, 90s. Brazilian teams were fantastic. Um, so we see a lot of Brazilian players, and I think sometimes that must be a bit of a weight around their neck because you see someone's name Brazilian or Brazil, and you automatically think of one of these brilliant footballers because every footballer who plays Brazil, we tend to assume is just tend to assume is just excellent. I mean, one example of that, digressing a bit, is Richarlison, isn't he, in
Yeah, Tottenham.
for Tottenham?
Yeah.
And did you see the goal he scored the other day? It was superb. It was a real Brazilian goal, wasn't it? It was a long range lob, perfect lob over the goalkeeper from a long way out. And they
Mm.
are dramatically excellent goals to see when someone's got the vision to do that. So yeah, he doesn't always live up to his Brazilian tag, but he's got it there. You can see Richarlison has got the stuff about him to be a great Brazilian footballer in
Mm.
England. So yeah, maybe this guy at Manchester suffers a bit from that tag of being Brazilian. Maybe it's
Wow.
still early days for him, but yeah, I wouldn't pass any judgment for my part. I don't feel I've watched him enough to make that. But yeah, I'm sure what you say has some merit.
Well, okay. Fair enough. Now, from one Brazilian to another Brazilian, and I'm just connecting the dots here. So Casemiro was like that when he first
Mm,
went to Manchester United.
yeah.
At one point, they were thinking, well, sell this guy. And now, according to stats, he is one of the Manchester United's most goals. He's got most goals for Manchester United this season. So this season, Bueno's got 5 goals and Casemiro's got 3 goals. So closely behind Bueno. So it's improved, isn't it?
Mm,
I mean, I wouldn't say what I would say about Casemiro last season, this season. I wouldn't, because I see that he's really improved. Even for Brazil, when Brazil played a friendly against Senegal, he actually scored a goal as well.
mm,
So he is starting to live up to that Brazil expectation,
yeah. Yeah.
if we can call it that. Now, Crystal Palace against Fulham,
Fulham.
against Fulham.
At Fulham. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, now there was a disallowed goal against the Fulham player because he touched the ball in the build-up. But then when the VAR decision came out, that wasn't what was talked about. What
Wasn't
the ref
mentioned, was it?
It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't mentioned. What the the, the reason for disallowing the goal was then that one of the players involved in the build-up of the goal was offside. Was offside by the VAR. Now I thought, now I just I looked at that and I thought, well, I love Crystal Palace. So I was happy. I was happy. But had it been any other team,